Hey there friends, it's Dominique from the Pixie Planner. In today's video, I am going to be showing you a comparison of how I have used all three Passion Planner sizes, and in that way I'm hoping to give you guys a better idea of how to make the decision on what size to choose for yourself. I've gotten lots and lots of questions over the months and past year on, what size am I using? What size do I enjoy best? And pretty much how do you make the decision as well? And of course, it is very personal, and I have enjoyed all three sizes for very different reasons. So I also want to cover what it is that I like most about each of the three sizes. So what I'm going to do is flip through a spread that I have done in each one of these, and it's an actual, week in my life type of spread. They are a little bit more on the minimal side, so I don't have many stickers, but I did make use of highlighter in these spreads. And just for kind of a comparison, I work a regular kind of 9 to 5 job. I do long hours, 4 days I do long hours, but I do work. So this is certainly going to be geared to someone that has, a big chunk of time of the day taken out from their work hours. So I'll kind of show you how I make use of that work section without it going to waste as well. I have my own schedule at work, so I don't use my planner for any of that need, but I make sure that I use those sections for other purposes, which I will show you. So let's go ahead and first jump into the small size, which used to be known as the compact. So this is an undated. 2 of these planners are undated, and I specifically chose undated. That way I can jump in and out of them and not worry about wasting pages. That is one thing that I highly, highly recommend if you're not 100% sure on, the size until you actually use it a little bit. I do recommend that you maybe try out the undated. That way you feel a little bit less guilty if it's something that you don't keep up with regularly. So opening this undated, I have here a simple highlighted spread, and what I did, and this is the first thing that I really enjoy about having sticky notes, is since the compact size is quite small and my handwriting is typically pretty large, I do have to focus on making it a little bit smaller here. But I love having sticky notes, especially this one with the habit tracker, because I would typically put a sticker down here, which is going to take up a lot of this precious space that I have. So if I have a week where I really don't want to worry about running out of room, I'll use my habit tracker sticky note, and that way I can just toss it when I'm done, or I can still keep it like I have for reference. It's just really nice. That way you're not using up, again, any of this space down here. So what I have done is, you can see I've highlighted my work sections. And this particular week, there weren't many tasks that I had to get done during those times, but I will go ahead and still write in tasks, like this day during work, I popped out real quick and I went to the bank. Another day, you could certainly use the space to have your lunch section and write down the tasks that you are getting done during your lunch break. So I do like highlighter for the purpose of you can just write right over it and still make use of the section you have blocked off for your work hours. So I don't typically follow the timeline every single day. You can see I have little bullets here, and those were tasks that I was wanting to get done, and I made little notes of the TV show that we were watching that evening, and then I also kept track of my steps for the week. So kept it very simple, yet it was clean. My eyes weren't, bombarded with a bunch of stickers or, different highlighted colors all over the place. It just was very simple. My eyes were drawn right to what I needed to look at and focus on. I went back at the end of the week and I highlighted the standout events for that week. I know you have the good things section here, but I still like to highlight, and there might even be like one or two other things in there that weren't necessarily like a good thing. For example, we had our fire alarm go off at work, and it was the third time that it happened since the beginning of the year. We were stuck outside with our patients for almost over an hour. So, that's just something that I want to be able to look at later on in the future as I'm, looking back through my planner. So when it comes to the small, of course, the portability is just outstanding. It is kind of your standard A5 size, and this has just become one of my favorite sizes for just being functional. Not worrying about making it look pretty, just get down those daily to-dos and tasks, events, and toss it right in the bag. And the portability, again, is one of my absolute favorites. I also love that I don't feel like I have to fill everything up. In the larger sizes, if I have a less busy week, I feel almost a little guilty that I didn't make use of all the space. I know you can go back and journal and such, but if I'm not doing that, then I kind of am left with a lot of white space, which is absolutely perfect. It's absolutely fine. But there are times where I feel guilty about looking, at all the white space. So I do love that even if you have a slower week, it looks nice and full and it's not cluttered. So with the small, I have enjoyed using this on the go and just a quick jot down type of, messy planner, if you would call it that. So the small is something that I have really always adored. I started off with the small. That was my very first passion planner. And then I moved on to the large before they had the pro. But the small is one that I am very much always drawn back to for the portability of it more than anything else. So next I have my pro size. This is the medium now, and this is what I have been using for most of the year, the 2019 year. And I started off with this. I jumped into my large, my classic size a couple months ago. But again, this is what I've been using mostly. So flipping to, this is one of my favorite spreads in my pro so far. You can see here that this time I made use of washi tape to block out my hours. Now, I didn't want to use washi tape in my small size because that takes up a lot of that space that I'm already limited on. So highlighter in the small to block out work hours seems to me to work a little bit better. It still gives you some wiggle room to have space to write in. But with this being a much wider space, I felt absolutely fine using washi tape, and I still, had my areas that I could use to make note of what I did during my work hours if there were any tasks that I was working on. So I've got the washi, I have a sticker down here for my habit tracker, and because this is enough room, pretty much, I felt fine putting that habit tracker. A habit tracker this big, I probably would not put in my small because the comparison, and let me open up back to my small and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So kind of looking at the week here, I know it's not the exact same week, but still you can kind of just see how large this space is compared to this section. So not only am I having to make my writing smaller, but I would really be taking up a lot of that room with a full habit tracker sticker here. And the width of the columns, you can kind of see a little bit better here that you do have quite a bit more space in the medium. Now, if you were to hop on Passion Planner's website, they have a wonderful free download of a weekly spread for each of the sizes. That way you can test your handwriting and just see what feels best to you. So I highly recommend that you check that out on their website. It's under the download section and it's free, and they have a ton of free downloads. So make sure you check that out just for a little bit of assistance in making your choice. So for this week, again, I went ahead and I highlighted the big events or the highlighted areas of my week and kept track of my steps again. So I use these stickers that are just very minimal, neutral. They are from Planning by Shannon. This habit tracker is from Knockout Print Shop. And then I threw in a little picture there of some friends that came to visit, and I really just love, again, the simplicity of the layout. I felt like I had a lot of great room to work with. If you want to journal in this type of size, on top of keeping track of your tasks, I feel like there's a good amount of room to do that as well. So one of my favorite things about the medium size is that obviously there is more room, but I feel like this is still a great travel size. And with this one, I'll put the small on top. You can see it's quite a bit bigger than the small, but I feel again that it's just very portable, and it's that perfect in between of the small and the large. And I was carrying this with me every single day, had no problem fitting it into my bag. I do use a tote style bag, and my bags are generally a little bit bigger. I'm not one for like the small, easy to carry ones. But so that's why this would fit perfectly in my bag. And again, the room that it offers is not too much, and I feel like it's kind of that Goldilocks, kind of planner, just right. And this can fit the majority of everyone's lifestyle. So I feel like if you are so torn between, the small, the large, you just don't know if you need more room, less room, safe bet would be to go for the medium. And if you get inundated, then that way you can try it out for as long as you need to. And if you're not a fan with it, you at least can then know and purchase whatever other size you like and maybe use it for memory keeping and not worry if you're skipping, a week here and there. So the medium, again, has been the one that I've been in most of 2019 and have loved it, absolutely loved it. So glad they came out with that size. Now stepping into my large, this I've been in for the past couple of months, and I've been doing some of my recent videos in here. Of course, this is quite a bit bigger, and so I'll put the medium on top. You can see definitely quite a bit bigger compared to the medium. And then the small, there's even bigger of a difference there. But the large, I absolutely love for the space you have to just write everything and anything you could possibly want. You can journal in here, you can keep track of your schedule, you can do memory keeping with pictures without feeling like you're taking up all of the precious space on the pages. So this is probably one of my favorite weeks in my large, and you can see here I kept it very minimal. Again, just a little washi tape for some sort of just nice appealing look to the eye. I really enjoy having a little bit of color. And I use one of the small habit trackers from Planning by Shannon down here, so that way I could have more room for this thing that I was trying out. So what I did is I divided each of these sections, which is usually the personal to do and the work to do, and I divided it for different categories in my life, things that I typically need to do weekly. So I have my must do items, could do items, anything pertaining to the home, bills that I had for the week, YouTube that I wanted to make sure that I got done, and then next week, so I can look ahead. Since I don't plan ahead, I like to keep this kind of in the front of my mind. That way, when I'm setting up next week, I kind of know what's already going on. So I did really like this breakdown, and with the large size, it's wonderful that this provides you so much space to do something like that. Even if you wanted to use a bigger habit tracker or just draw out, habit tracker over here, I feel like you still have lots of room to work with. You can even draw a line down the center here to divide up even more boxes instead of having, full section here, full section here. You could have two smaller sections. If you are someone that writes smaller, that would be perfect. And that opens up so much more space for you in this planner for this lower section. So what I did for this week is I made the top area kind of my routine, my morning routine, and that's my journaling, making the bed, and then also making my Instagram post, or if I'm paying any bills, I save that for kind of my morning time. I kept track of which Audible book I was reading for the day, and then I also did a little journaling. And I didn't do as much as I would typically do in the classic size, but I, again, like that you have room to add journaling in there if you really feel like it. And I do it in cursive just so it's a little bit more standout if I'm not using a highlighter to highlight it or a separate colored pen. So the cursive just draws my eye and it tells me, okay, that's where you did some journaling, or my focus was more on my health in those areas. And I kept a little tracker here of my cleaning list, plenty of room to write the good things that happened. I do feel like I have to limit myself in the small especially, just because, again, it's so difficult for me to make my handwriting smaller. So in my small size, I usually do just 3 things for the week that I consider, good memories. But I like that I'm able to fit in everything in the large. So the large is not quite as portable as the other two are, of course, but my favorite thing is just how much room you have to get creative. And you can go crazy with stickers and still not have it feel overwhelmed and cluttered. You can put all sorts of memorabilia if you have ticket stubs that you had from the week or pictures that you want to put from the week. This is the space that really allows you to do that. And I feel like the large just is a little bit more giving to someone who wants to be more creative with their planning. So that was a quick look, guys, at how I have been making use of the 3 sizes, and I hope that gave you a little input on how to make your decision, because I know 2020 is right around the corner. We are all getting so excited to jump into our 2020 Passion Planner editions. And I know a lot of you are still undecided on what size and, of course, what beautiful cover you're going to be choosing. So again, I do recommend that you hop onto Passion Planner's website. That way you can download the free trial of the different sizes. It's the weekly layout that you can go ahead and play around with and see how your handwriting looks and to see how it feels. Hop onto their website. I'll leave that information down below. But if you have any other questions or any other videos that you would like me to make regarding the different sizes, then please let me know. I would be more than happy to make any videos you have in mind, and I am hoping to answer any questions that you might have. I appreciate you guys so very much. Thank you for joining me in today's video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.